we head to the courts, and Captain has joined me this morning. We head to Nsawam, but we are not prisoners. We are not visiting prisoners, but we are looking at some prisoners who now have their freedom. That's an interesting one. Captain, good morning.
Good morning, Lily. How are you?
I'm doing awesome,
Great.
as always.
Yes,
How are you?
I'm good. Yesterday I was at Nsawam prisons. Yes, not at a prisoner though.
Yes, absolutely.
As a visitor.
Yeah.
So yesterday the Justice for All program touched base at the Nsawam medium security prisons, and in fact, the objective of the exercise is to make sure that persons who are on remand and from some way somehow have not been produced in court for their fate to be determined, to have some kind of justice. And yesterday you could see people on remand for as long as over 12, 13 years, and they have been on remand. They have not been brought to court. Some 7 years, some 5 years, and all that. So you could see clearly that the exercise was needed in the prisons to ensure that persons who go to or who appear, or the applicant who appear before the court, then will have the opportunity for the court to hear their story and then a decision taken on them and all that. So let's go to the Nsawam prison. Yesterday, 24 applications were considered. And in fact, I must say, out of the 24, about 22 of them were somehow lucky. 12 were free, they were discharged. Out of the 12, one person was acquitted and discharged because the offense that the person was charged with, if convicted and sentenced, the minimum is 5 years on natural canal knowledge, and then the maximum is 25 years. And the person has been on remand for 7 years. So just imagine if the person was in court and let's say the court says that I'm giving you the minimum punishment of 5 years, the person would have been done and gone. Another person, since 2011, he has been on remand, and they said he has been in court for just about once.
Wow.
And the rest in Nsawam. And yesterday, the scenes, tears of joy. Let's go and watch this short report on what happened in Nsawam yesterday.
The Justice for All Foundation has touched base here at the Nsawam medium prisons, and in fact, over 20 applications were considered, and out of the 20, I can tell you that 12 of them have been successful. 12 people are walking free, they are going home, they have been discharged. In fact, 10 of them were also granted bail because of the situation that they find themselves here. But let's talk to some of these people who have been discharged by way of they being freed to go home. But you're from
Musa Hubda.
Musa Hubda, da bena ba?
Bachon ba 2018.
2018. Money bena do ba?
Bacho meda na de me ba.
Meda we die wu.
Musi meda.
Musi we die wu.
Musi medie wu.
Musi we die wu. Enti uba na ye de wa court.
Me court da.
Since I did about 2018 on court.
Since I made me ba fear me court da.
The end na no mo catch you.
Omo nka hwenkyere me dem wa just ama ebe ma me bail me partners na ya jai omo best 4 years ni.
The Justice for All Foundation abaha exercise na ba no yes see jai omo ko fie fa ni sen.
Oh masa omo ba sa ba we so nko de ma me we ma try before me qualify ba we kire say me come fie ma nya me fan wodie me domase ana me tie ni so me ni obia o kame I just Nyankopon pe Nyankopon on wa ya mame na me da na sen so
Tanasi me de Nyankopon tanasi pa ajo doa me de dia me ka ada na me wie okay asema ja ajo mo me ka me ni boa for bia akaba me ni me papa ko maybe I was going to be a baby born. So they said they may buy a chair.
I came to Ghana to, let's say, to work as, I would call it Yahoo.
Work as Yahoo?
Yeah.
What does Yahoo mean?
We call it fraud.
Fraud? You came to Ghana to defraud?
Yeah.
People?
But not Africa. Aside.
Why did you not do it in Nigeria but Ghana?
Because we don't have a steady light.
A steady light? What is steady light?
Light.
Light. Yeah. What light means?
That is the normal NEPA light. We don't have it steady.
Okay. So when you came to Ghana, what happened?
Yeah, I was with my chairman at Kaswa. So we have a problem with sharing money.
So how were you supposed to share the money?
We're supposed to share 40-60.
Okay, 40-60.
Yeah. So the
Who gets 60 and who gets 40?
That's my chairman. His own is 60, my own is 40.
Okay. And what happened? Did you get your 40?
No.
What happened?
He said he will not give me the 40, they will give me 30. I said no. So we have an argument, quarrel. So I took the 30, then I took my laptop and my things, then I left to hotel.
So you left your chairman's place to a hotel?
Yeah.
Okay. And what happened after when you went to the hotel?
Yeah, I was in hotel in, let's say, like 1 week. So the day making 1 week. So I went out around 12 o'clock midnight to London Bar along Kaswa Road, there, Choice. So I went there to took, normally a prostitute.
You engaged the services of a prostitute?
Yeah.
And what happened?
So I took her in. So she only took spine off. He said she was already drunk at her madam. That day is her freedom day. That is her day she settled her madam. So she took only spine off. So at the end, the next morning around something 5 to 6. So I woke her up. No way, she's not waking up. So
she died. She died.
She died.
You didn't do anything to her?
No.
Start taking the drink?
No. So I checked, there's white foam coming out on her mouth. So I rushed down to call the hotel attendant. So I drew that one attention. So she came and discovered that yes, it's true. So she even helped me, took her to the bedroom to on the shower on her. See, before the hotel attendant took phone, I called the owner of the hotel. So the owner of the hotel came down and I called the police to arrest me.
That was when you were brought here?
Yes.
Were you ever taken to court?
No, since 2019 I came to court. I was remanded to prison. I've never gone to court before.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
So in this case, since 2019,
yeah, that's 5
he's
years
never
on.
been to court, and so that is the essence of the Justice for All program. So you go there, identify these people, and then justice is served on them. So you heard him clearly because he came to Ghana to do Yahoo, and then he ended up in Nsawam. The laws are working. In fact, there's a longer version of the conversation that on our social media platform we'll hear very, very interesting ththings that they've been saying. But let's go and see what the co-chair of the program, in fact, Justice Ifia Sewa, Justice of the Court of Appeal, who is, as it were, in fact, in relation to this very program, she is the co-chair of Judiciary Criminal Justice Committee, and yesterday she was at the Nsawam prisons. Let's hear from what she has to say.
The Judicial Service notes with concern that despite the successes chalked, some non-governmental organizations use old data and statistics to create unwelcome stories about the criminal justice system in Ghana, especially about remand prisoners. Some also put stories in the public domain without verification after having only heard stories told by the prisoners. We want to assure the general public that remand prisoners in Ghana are not quote-unquote locked and forgotten. All stakeholders are working tirelessly to reduce the period between arrest, detention, and final adjudication.
Yeah.
Yes, Justice Ifia Sewa Asaribuchi. So yesterday,
and I saw my other favorite woman there,
So,
Justice Lydia Osema.
so
Good morning to you, Justice.
Justice Lydia Osema for yesterday man one of the courts. Yes, in fact, yesterday I was in her court throughout the session, and you know one interesting thing that happened. How do you feel now when you are walking in town? Probably you meet one of your former teachers in school, and who was very critical at you, who didn't like you, you might say, was punishing you all along, and you meet the person in town.
Oh, well, I'll just tell them that your punishments have yielded results.
So yesterday, one of the interesting spectacles was that there was a guy, Justice Ifia Sewa Asaribuchi, has convicted and sentenced to Nsawam. So yesterday they had a reunion.
Oh.
They had a hearing yesterday, and in fact, the convict was so appreciative of the punishment given to him. If you go to the prisons now, he's an officer, he's a leader who has been taking some of the inmates through a lot of skill training and other stuff.
Wow.
And yesterday had a very nice conversation with Justice Efia. Unfortunately, we couldn't take visuals or couldn't put it on record, so we couldn't have Justice Efia sorry, which was happening. But let's hear from POS Foundation, Jonathan Osewusu, the facilitators of the Justice for All program.
12 people discharged to go home. I always say freedom cannot be bought with money or anything. So in a day, a day's custody is something else. How much more some of them spending 11 years, 5 years, 7 years without trial, and today the court brought to the doorstep of the prisoner and they now pronounce that you've been discharged. You saw some of them crying. This is freedom that cannot be bought. So as much as we sometimes condemn some of the systems that we are running, this is also another intervention by the justice system that is also resolving some of the backlogs or issues that have come up as a result of systemic failure or challenges. So it's a good time that we all have to celebrate for our colleagues that have gotten justice and that they are going to reconcile or reunite with their family. If you look at the statistics my lady put out there, the remand population has moved from 33% during the Justice for All in 2007 to 10.8. Now the question is there any congestion, or do we still have congestion in our prisons? From the prisons authorities, yes. That means the convict population steadily have not dropped.
Okay, so that's Jonathan Osei, he's the executive director for the POS Foundation.
So they are in charge
Kudos
of
to them. Yeah.
Justice for All Foundation. And notice that it started in Kumasi earlier, where a 14-year-old juvenile was also in custody when he ought not to be there. So that is the importance or significance of this various. Yesterday, some people were lucky and others. In fact, 2 people cases were refused because their stories were not consistent. So the court was of the considered view that they cannot grant them bail. So out of the number, like we said, 12 discharged, 10 of them were granted bail, and then 2 applications were refused.
Anyway, let's look at some of the cases coming up. Today is Thursday, so obviously the ambulance case will be in court. Tuesday they couldn't sit because the finance minister had to deliver the media budget review, and so the minority leader, who is the first accused, could not make it because he had to represent in Parliament.
So on Tuesday, we're expecting, the court was hoping that Dr. Alex Segbefia, the former Minister for Health, will be in court. But like you mentioned, because of the media review budget, so the case did not come on. So today, we'll know the plan. In fact, today's schedule was for the Chief of Defense Staff, military, will have to be the one to come to court as per the plan that was had. But today we'll know where the court will put Mr. Alex Segbefia because he was supposed to appear on Tuesday and it didn't happen. But today's sitting, Chief of Defense Staff and one other witness, I beg your pardon, are supposed to come and testify for Richard Jakpa, the third accused person, also a businessman. So that is what we do expect today to happen. So that case will surely come up today.
And then Oliver Baka is also expected to move on application today.
So there are 2 cases that Oliver is involved now. And the other leg is a civil one between him and then Albert Kandapa, the National Security Minister. But this one has to do with the one that the state is charging him for treason felony, 2 counts of treason felony. Today, Justice Mami Ekwe Yenzu will be hearing a motion on an application from lawyers of Oliver Baka Formawo. They are asking for a stay of proceeding because there were certain things that they were asking the court earlier to refer to the Supreme Court for interpretation, but the court said there's nothing to interpret. So it was dismissed or overruled. In fact, it was dismissed. So they intend to challenge that at the Court of Appeal. So on top of that, they are asking the court to say, look, we are going to your upstairs. We are going to the 3 wise men at the Court of Appeal. Hold on to whatever is here. Let's go. Whatever will happen there, we'll come and report to you. So Justice Mary Mami Ekwe will make a determination as to whether, or we hear the parties, the applicants, prosecution, and will make a determination whether to stay the proceedings and wait for the Court of Appeal or the court will decide otherwise. So that's what we do expect also in relation to this case. So these are the two main cases, and of course, those that will chance on them along the line.
You report to us
Absolutely.
here on the EIB network. Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Captain.
Lily.
As always, he updates us on things we missed in court and things happening in court. That's it for court today.